Mia resolves to infiltrate Remno to rescue Prince Abel. Though the border is sealed, Chloe offered a solution: slip in with her company's merchant caravan. Sion insists on going despite the political risk. The group agrees to act without royal guards and move in secret. Anne begs to join, but Mia refused. Heartbroken, Anne wavers until Rafina reminds her she's not merely a maid but Mia's confidant and right arm. Near the border, suspiciously skilled bandits strike. Keithwood duels in a cramped wagon while two more assailants close in. Mia falls into the river. Sion dies after her and saves her with a decidedly unromantic first aid. Gasping on the far bank, they realize they've been swept into Remno successfully with a catch. They're far from the capital. A mountain range blocks the way back, and Abel's fate is still unknown. The Renmo Revolution arc continues.
A bonfire crackled on the riverbank. The flames that dimly illuminate the darkness of the night irradiated a warm glow.
For the time being, we won't have to worry about catching a cold with this.
The kingdom of Remno is not in the frigid north, nor is it a tropical country with perpetually sweltering nights either. If their body gets cold, they may get sick, so they started a bonfire quickly. Well, Prince Sion did. Princess Mia was just watching.
I didn't expect you to know how to start a fire.
Well, I've gone hunting before. I learned a lot on those trips. For some reason, Sion turned away. His cheeks were slightly red. It was quite understandable. They are only wearing their underclothes to dry their wet clothes. Sion, as the gentleman he was looking away from Mia as much as possible. Mia, on the other hand, was looking at Sion with her chin resting on her knees.
Oh my, what a cute reaction.
She was delighted with the innocent reaction of Sion, who was known to be a perfect human. Of course, it wasn't like Mia was not ashamed as well. She was just as vulnerable to the embarrassment of being stared at by someone of the opposite sex while only wearing her underwear. Even so, Sion is a 12 or 13-year-old boy, whereas Mia was 20 on the inside. No, she's 21 technically, considering it had been almost a year since she had leapt through time. She was technically an adult, a lady of maturity and composure, who was gawking at a blushing boy with a creepy grin on her face. She was the kind of grown-up everyone should stay away from. Rather, I'm the one who is surprised. I was not sure what we were going to do about food, but you know which wild grasses can be eaten. I guess you're not the wisdom of the Empire for nothing.
Oh, please. It's hardly the kind of thing to be surprised about,
said Mia with a level of smugness off the charts on her face. There was a reason for her attitude of superiority. Mia already has the experience of spending the night in the woods. It wasn't during what happened in the assailants' forest, it was much longer ago, all the way back in the previous timeline. In a desperate attempt to escape the revolutionary army, Mia hid in the woods accompanied by only a single maid of dubious competence.
Those were tough times.
They couldn't secure drinking water and had no food. Wild beasts seemed to be lurking in every shadow. Her guards had long been separated from her, and to add the cherry on top, her captors were nearby, preventing her from seeking help. Soon enough, the maid fled to one of the nearby villages while cursing Mia. Mia became utterly alone in the forest. Thirsty and hungry, Mia became unable to endure the darkness and loneliness of the night. Her heart grew frailer. Eventually, her will gave way, and she shambled out into a neighboring village, where she was promptly captured by the Revolutionary Army.
Compared to that time, this is a walk in the park.
After all, there is a river nearby. It is easy to secure drinking water. Besides, Mia had already researched in books what kind of edible food was in the forests of this continent. Mia, who was eager to escape from the guillotine, now has the knowledge that it is no exaggeration to say that she is the Bear Grylls of this world. She examined their surroundings and took note of her available options, ranging from edible herbs to berries and nuts, and decided that her tummy wasn't going to complain for a good while. She didn't have to worry too much for the time being, especially with Prince Sion at her side.
At that time, I was scared to death of running into a bear or a wolf, but as long as I have him, I will be safe.
With relief came contentment, and a complacent smile slowly spread across her lips. Any bystander could say that Sion, being a boy, would have had a hard time fighting against bear or wolf. Sadly, there is no nearby bystander to burst Mia's bubble. The only other person present was Sion himself, who was currently staring contemplatively off into the distance and unavailable for comment.
Still, I can't believe he is now protecting me.
Mia thought while gazing at the profile of Sion, who was looking toward the forest. When she saw the beautiful face of her enemy, his features were so chiseled that it actually upset her. It upset her so much that she could not resist the urge of being a little mean to him.
Say, Prince Sion, I have something to ask, but only if it's okay.
Sure, ask away. I'll answer to the best of my ability. Within limits, of course.
If you were to discover that your friend and schoolmate, Prince Abel, was involved in the oppression of his people, would you strike him down?
That... I
heard that you are as noble as Rafina. You are a person of integrity, Prince Sion. That's why I want to ask you. Even if you know the other person by name, and the same person is your friend, if he's doing evil, will you condemn him with the sword?
This was a question that had been in Mia's mind for a long time. In the previous timeline, the Revolutionary Army, led by Prince Sion and Tiona, took her life. To some extent, she understood why it happened. She could see the wrath of the hungry people. Together with their other grievances, they have more than enough motive to execute her. But that was then. They had been people she didn't know. What she was truly curious about was how Sion had felt. What thoughts and feelings had been going through his head when he watched that terrible blade descend upon her neck. That came out of nowhere, Princess Mia. I had not considered that possibility at all. If Prince Abel took part in the oppression of his people and stained his sword with their blood, then yes, I might have to point my sword at him. It was Sion's unwavering belief. He was raised as a prince of the great kingdom of Sunland. Since he was a baby, he had been told to uphold justice at all times. He can't just turn a blind eye to an evildoer in front of him. But Mia had not finished her line of questioning.
So, depending on the circumstance, you're willing to strike down Prince Abel? Is that your final answer, Prince Sion?
Sion couldn't answer immediately. He didn't have such a deep relationship with Abel Remno. Nonetheless, their days at St. Noel's Academy cultivated in Sion a feeling that it would be safe to call Abel his friend. If the time came, could he raise his sword against a friend? Was it possible for him to strike down Abel? Would his heart even allow it? Trying very hard to ignore the uncertainty wavering within him, he responded, "It is. What you said could be possible. I mean, I would do it, but it's not as if I'd have any choice, right? It's a choice Prince Abel would have made. There'd be nothing I could do about it." To rule a kingdom was to take on the responsibility of upholding justice. As a member of the royal family, Sion had always been thought that he had a duty to deliver appropriate punishment to those who committed evil, and that principle served both as a standard he strove toward and a source of discipline for himself.
Sure, it can be helped. You can't do anything, right?
Are you trying to say I am wrong? Is Princess Mia viewing the situation through the lenses of reason or love? Is her bias with Prince Abel? No, she's not. He noticed the light in Mia's eyes. What was there was neither the faint flicker of sorrow, nor was it the pitiful embers of appeal. No, it was anger. The wisdom of the Empire was angry at Sion's words.
Those words should be said only after you have tried everything in your power to avoid violence. Should they not, Prince Sion?
Huh? The way she looked at him, through him, made his breath catch in his throat. There is no choice but to judge the other party, condemn if the other person has done evil. Sion saw these as fundamental truths, as plain as the sun in the sky. And yet, Mia had questioned him. It seemed as if she was asking him, "Then you say it can't be helped. But what kind of efforts did you make to prevent the other person from doing evil?" Sion was not oblivious to the difficulties faced by the kingdom of Remno. Even during the summer vacation, he was constantly updated by intelligence officers hiding in the kingdom of Remno, and he felt a disturbing atmosphere in that kingdom. He had even braced himself for the eventuality of a military intervention. That was, however, the extent of what he had done. He didn't do anything else. Though he went around spouting moral platitudes about upholding justice and punishing those who torment masses, he hadn't done a single thing to stop that torment from being inflicted. Then, does he have the qualification to condemn Prince Abel? He who knew about the sufferings but did nothing. A nebulous mass of uncertainty began to grow in his heart, along with a new question. Princess Mia, why did she decide to set out on this journey? I thought she just wanted to see Prince Abel. If not, is she trying to prevent him from doing evil? Is she trying to stop the revolution from breaking out? Is that even possible? Sion looked at Mia, who was gazing at the fire. She said nothing. However, her silence after the words she said echoed in his mind. While he was greatly disturbed, there also arose in him a deep sense of awe for the princess. Well, needless to say at this point, but Mia, obviously, doesn't have any plans to stop the revolution. To be honest, she didn't give a damn about Sion's beliefs either. So, what was it that made Mia so angry?
You had no choice? That's your excuse for what you did to me?
Ah, there it is. The source of anger. Indeed, the Tearmoon Empire at that time was falling to crumbles. She could understand that the common people had a reason to hate the imperial family and those of high birth. And she could even come to terms with the criticisms of other countries. However, there was something that Mia found utterly intolerable.
I died because you couldn't be bothered to even warn me that I was getting into trouble? Just a quick heads up would be nice. You could have, said something before you started a revolution and drop a freaking cleaver on my head.
They were attending the same school, and at least a word of caution could have been said before such drastic measures were undertaken. If he had just sat her down one day and told her, "Hey, look, we're sick and tired of your attitude," maybe, just maybe, something could have changed. Instead, he waited until things had gone to crap when he gallantly swooped in to save the day and declaring to her, "I have no choice to bring you to justice. It's a consequence of your own actions." Just thinking about that made her blood boil.
I really hate his guts. I take back all the good things I said about him.
Mia got so angry that it took almost everything in her to stop herself from gnashing her teeth. In her mind were all sorts of feelings and thoughts of anger, frustration, and indignation. The only thing that was certainly not on her mind was any semblance of a plan on what they could be doing tomorrow. Early in the morning the next day, Mia and Sion started walking along the river. Having thoroughly experienced the agony of prolonged thirst in the previous timeline, Mia had chosen to stay close to the river rather than blindly entering the woods. They bet on the possibility of finding a village near the riverside.
And it's a little scary to be somewhere without water. This might have been a mistake.
The riverbank was blanketed with large rocks, and walking over them proved to be extremely exhausting. Mia did try to improve her stamina in case of emergency, but there's still a limit to what she could achieve. The road was a little too harsh for a girl's feet. Sweat spilled from Mia's forehead, and her cheeks were slightly dyed red. Her knees started shaking, and they could give way any time. "Are you okay, Princess Mia?"
Thanks for the hand, Prince Sion. I must say, I wish there was something to ride. I won't go as far as a carriage, but at least a horse.
Oh yeah, almost forgot that you could ride a horse. Unfortunately, I don't think we'll just happen upon a couple of wild horses. Of course, but if you're fine with your ride being smaller...
Smaller? How so?
And having it howl at night.
How? Don't tell me. You can ride a wolf?
Mia remembered that in the manuscript written by Elise, there was a prince riding a wolf. She stared at Sion, her eyes widening with wonder. No, I can't ride a wolf. Oh, praise the sun. You can be so delightfully gullible sometimes, Princess Mia.
Hey, You
She gave him an angry pufferfish glare.
stupid Sion. Just because I'm a little naive about these things. Ugh, I really hate this guy. His guts and everything.
Still, she couldn't antagonize her only ally, so she decided to direct her anger elsewhere.
This is all because of those guys who attacked the carriage. It's all their fault. It's something the matter?
No, I was just thinking, this whole thing seems a little strange.
What do you mean?
The political instability here in Remno has turned the kingdom into a danger zone. That much is true, so it's no wonder that the caravan was attacked. But the people we ran into back there weren't regular bandits.
Now that you say it, I remember you mentioning something about assassins.
That's right, they were far too skilled to just be regular thugs. Needless to say, those kinds of guys aren't the ones that suddenly show up just because the public order is in decline.
Oh goodness. You mean to say that someone hired those assassins to take our lives?
Not all of us. Maybe just you or myself. Well, I suppose Miss Tiona as well. In any case, the carriage was full of high-profile targets. It may not come as a surprise that the assassins went after them except...
But no one should have known that we were in that carriage. Does that mean that information was leaked from somewhere?
That's the most logical option, but... Sion went silent. He was trying to reenact all the events in the wagon. Mia, on the other hand...
Well, if this guy is doing the thinking, then I shouldn't think about it myself. What should I do, though? I can catch fish. What kind of herbs grow along the riverbank again? Let's see. Is that...
A mushroom growing by the riverside caught her eye. This one was bright red, like a burning flame. It was a beautiful thing. The next thing she knew, she crouched beside it with her hand outstretched, about to pluck it from the ground. However, the words of her head chef came back to her.
Your Highness, it's okay to be interested in the delicacies of the wild, but take note of one thing. Be very careful with mushrooms. Mushrooms, you see, are very difficult to distinguish between poisonous and non-poisonous. They're dangerous to all, but the most discerning experts, so, if possible, I urge you to stay away from them.
She retracted her hand, heeding the head chef's warning.
So, this is a mushroom. Wait a minute. Now that I think about it, I am an expert, right? I've done a lot of research about how to survive in the forest.
The books she had read, plus the experience of spending the night in the woods, instilled in her a bizarre confidence in herself. She was confident that she would be able to tell which ones were edible and which ones were not. It was a gut feeling, and gut that just so happens to be rather empty.
I mean, just look at it. It looks so beautiful. It's decided. We can eat it.
Wouldn't touch that if I were you.
Eh?
Mia, get back! Sion pulled her arm and tugged her in his direction. He pulled so forcefully that she almost fell into him. That alone could have made her heart skip a beat. But what was more shocking is the realization that Sion did not use her title. He just called her Mia. No honorifics, no address, as if they were close friends. Or even... Actually, last night they decided to stop using titles. It would be problematic to call each other prince or princess, especially around the revolutionaries. She distinctly remembered thinking,
Oh, you cheeky little boy. Trying to get out potty with me, aren't you? I see your game.
or so she was thinking, but now that she had heard it in person with all the benefits of the audiovisual context,
Heavenly Moons, this is really bad for my heart.
Mia's face went red, and her heart pounding. She pressed her hands to her cheeks as her disconcerted mind shifted into romance mode so fast she almost fainted. Sion, on the other hand, was fully composed. He stepped forward to shield her as he faced the owner of the strange voice. Standing before them was a large man with a thick beard. At first glance, he looked like a hunter, but is it possible that he's merely dressed like one? When they fell into the river, he had thrown away the sword to make it easier to swim. If this man was a companion from the assassins that attacked the carriage, then it's going to be a hard fight. In case of emergency, Sion was resolved to let Princess Mia escape alone. To his surprise, the stranger did not approach. He just pointed to the red mushroom that Mia was trying to take.
"Dad, young lady, it's a salamandrake. It can give you rash just by touching it. You don't want to find out what happens if you eat it."
Is that so? I thought I could eat it because it was so beautiful.
Beautiful? Are you for real? Sion was about to retort, but he kept his mouth closed as he realized how hungry he was. He wondered if the herbs they had eaten yesterday were safe. For a split second, his trust in the wisdom of the Empire wavered.
"You're one from around here, aren't you? Where are you from?"
We're from...
Who's asking? Sion was quietly observing the man. When he looked at his gestures, he didn't look like a combat-trained assassin, but he couldn't let his guard down. If the man turned out to be a bandit, one wrong word could potentially put them in danger. They could be held for ransom, or even worse, sell them to slavers. Sion's vigilance was justified.
"Yeah? Is this one of those, tell me your name first before I tell you mine, Hanan? Well, name is Musik, from the nearby Donna village. I'm a hunter, you say?"
My, is that half moon hair? Are you going to eat it?
"You betcha. Want to try 'em? They're a real treat."
Yes, I would definitely want to try it. Actually, we're very hungry because we were separated from our friends.
Speaking much, my lady? A wary frown flashed across Sion's brow, but immediately dismissed his thoughts. There is no reason why a person like Princess Mia cannot understand this level of danger. The mushroom incident from earlier gave him some cause of concern, but that was probably a lapse of judgment born out of pure curiosity. It shouldn't affect her ability to perceive real and present danger. Hold on. He looked at Mia's face and he couldn't find a single shred of anxiety. She was just looking at the man. Her expression was calm. We were getting nowhere just walking along the river. She has quickly judged the advantages of opening up to this man. Her preparation and resolve is admirable. I better step up my game. We are children of merchants. We were attacked by bandits at the bridge and separated from our parents.
"Oh, sorry to hear that, little ones. Why don't y'all come with me then? The village ain't far."
We're very grateful for that, but we have to head to the capital.
"Capital? Oh, they'll find out y'all if anyone's going soon."
With that, he set off, and Mia and Sion started following. As most of you have surely guessed, it was obvious that Mia didn't have any resolve. Rather, her actions were based on a passage of a book that she had read about forest survival techniques, which read, "Amongst the foods one can find in a forest, one of the most delectable is the meat of the hare. In particular, stew made from half-moon hare, recognizable by the pattern of black and white stripes on its fur, deserves special mention for its exquisite flavor."
Hair mead. How terribly exciting.
Yeah, her actions were driven again by her very empty gut feeling.
But it's not like I'm hungry or anything. At times like this, you just have to eat something that is nutritious to keep us going. That's all.
Her thinly veiled excuse fooled no one but her own gluttonous self. By the way, the salamandrake mushroom is like kantake in Japan. If you are wondering if it is okay to eat, please try Google. They followed music through the woods by taking narrow animal trails. It was just as harsh as walking on the riverbank. Mia was exhausted, but she couldn't afford to be left behind. The canopy of the thick, dense trees blocked out the sunlight. As a result, the whole forest seemed to be surrounded in darkness. From the shade of a tree, a monster may appear. Mia trembled with her overactive imagination. She did not believe in ghosts or monsters and the like, but she did not get the title of chicken-hearted by being selective of her fears. Whether it's a ghost or a wolf, as long as it popped out, she'd react to it with equal and indiscriminate terror. Which explained how she managed to keep her legs moving. Fatigue was one thing. Being left behind in a forest where things could jump out at her from every shadow was another thing entirely. She was going to keep walking if it was the last thing she did. Unbeknownst to her, her display of willpower was the very thing that had doomed her to such prolonged agony. Wow, color me surprised. I thought that by now we would have taken at least 2 breaks. I'm surprised that Mia has such impressive stamina. I know she joined the equestrian club, but still. Mia, I swear, I can't really rest on my laurels now.
Ah, those flickering lights I see. They're terribly pretty. Oh, and they follow me around wherever I look.
Just as Mia started mumbling things that would make medical professionals concerned about her mental health, the 2 people in front of her stopped.
Where?
The trees seemed to open up to a wide clearing. They arrived at the village of Donny. It seemed to be composed of about a dozen houses, and every house was made only out of wood. Mostly a gathering of hunters and loggers, huh?
See that one with the round roof? That's my place. Even if you all want to go to the capital, you'll have to wait till tomorrow. It's too late today. I'll be happy to have you at my house tonight.
Good. It looks like we can sleep in a place with a roof tonight. But he suddenly turned to Mia. For Sion, who sometimes goes hunting in the woods, this kind of hut is a relatively familiar place. But that's not the case for Mia, the princess of a great empire. Sion was worried that she might not be as flexible. Heck, she might be even disgusted upon seeing the condition of the house.
Hey, how do you eat hares? Do you roast them over a fire?
Sure, a great way. But I was thinking of making it into a stew today. I got some veggies I can put in too.
Wow, stewed hare? That's wonderful. Oh, what if you also add some mushrooms?
Hold your horses, young lady. Mushrooms are a real devil to identify. Don't touch them. If you all don't know what you're doing, you'll regret it.
Then, could you tell me which ones are edible? There's someone I really want to cook for.
With her eyes glittering with excitement, Mia was clearly absorbed in cooking. She didn't seem to care about the state of the house at all. So much for me worrying about her delicate sensibilities. She didn't seem to be bothered if we camped out in the open either. She's surprisingly tough. By the way, it looks like things are getting a little messy around here.
What things?
Isn't a civil war about to break out?
Oh, you got good ears, young man. Yeah. Word here is that there's some people in town making noise or something stupid.
Something stupid? Does it not affect anything around here?
No. Don't much around these parts. Anyway, here in the countryside, we're too busy looking after ourselves.
This doesn't make sense. It's quite different from the report. I thought that the revolution had enveloped the entire kingdom. According to the intelligence he received, residents who couldn't stand the heavy tax imposed by the king to expand their armaments rose up in anger. Is it because this place is a remote settlement along the border that it hasn't reached here yet? Sion tilted his head slightly due to the slight difference in the information he received and what he is currently witnessing. Mia, on the other hand, was also tilting her head, but this is because she was drinking a generous amount of her stew from a wooden bowl.
This is delicious. No wonder it was mentioned in the book.
A tender piece of meat rolled into her mouth and promptly melted into a wave of gamey savoriness that washed over her taste buds, which was soon complemented by the rich flavors of mountain vegetables. The experience was so satisfying that she smacked her lips in sheer, scrumptious pleasure. As she drank down the stew, its heat spread throughout her body. With the burgeoning sense of warmth, however, came a realization.
Something is not right. It seems like there is plenty of food.
It was perhaps an obvious observation. The famine that will hit the continent isn't due for a few years from now, so there's no shortage of food yet.
Still, it's kind of weird.
It might have been a fleeting feeling, or a passing thought, but it left behind an unease. No, the seeds of unease have yet to sprout. Nevertheless, she couldn't take her mind off it.
Oh yes, I'm missing something sweet. It's delicious, but I want something sweet.
At the end of the day, Mia was still a princess, and a princess deserves her sugar cravings.
This is it for this video. We will continue with the story of the Guillotine Princess in the next episode. It was Marco and Brian from Jobless Weaves. Matane!